Reaching Out to Victims of Domestic Violence in Nevada by me, Josh Gordon. Did you know that according to the World Population Review, 43.8% of Nevadan women and 32.8% of men experience domestic violence in their lifetime? Nevada has the fifth highest overall crime rate in the United States. For many years, Nevada was ranked first for domestic violence fatalities, and it was ranked third in 2014. As you can see, domestic violence affects too many Vegas residents, and as a city council member, you have the power to change that. I have not personally experienced domestic violence, but there is a high probability that as a Nevadan, I will be a victim of or know someone who is a victim of domestic violence. Knowing that my rate of exposure to domestic violence is higher than most other states, I decided to conduct research on the topic and see how I can help. Las Vegas has several services already available for victims of domestic violence, such as hotlines and shelters. But more work needs to be done every year so more Nevadans don't become victims. First, I will tell you about the horrors of domestic violence. Then I will tell you about the services that are available. And lastly, I will describe how we can bolster these services. So let's begin with some information about domestic violence. Domestic violence is defined as the violence or abuse of a partner. According to the State of Nevada government webpage, domestic violence is different from other random crimes because a perpetrator and a victim are not strangers. Instead, they are intimate partners, family members, or parents of common children. This relationship, therefore, binds a victim to his or her perpetrator. For example, the victim may rely on the perpetrator for economic support or child support. Ongoing domestic violence is characterized by a pattern of escalating abuse in which one partner in the relationship controls the other through force, deprivation, and threat of violence or violence. For these reasons, victims of domestic violence often do not report the abuse or seek the help they should. The key word here is control. Perpetrators of domestic violence use control over their partner to inflict harm and to prevent their partner from reporting them. According to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, in 2015, the National Domestic Violence Hotline documented 1,791 contacts from Nevada. The state ranks 23rd in terms of hotline contact volume. Yep, that's right. In a state with top 5 most incidents of domestic violence, we only rank 23rd in terms of hotline contact volume. Domestic violence takes its toll on our community as a whole. Victims of domestic violence suffer various health problems, from physical ailments to mental health problems to substance abuse. Also, children suffer from domestic violence in their home. According to a Loma Linda University Health article, children witness more than half of domestic assaults and have a 45 to 60% chance of experiencing child abuse if their parent is being assaulted. Now that you know the dangers of domestic violence and its prevalence in our community, let us explore new ways to solve this disastrous problem. Clearly, the services available for domestic violence victims in our state have been insufficient. I propose we bolster these services by spreading the word about them through an ad campaign. The main problem in domestic violence situations is that victims are often afraid to seek help. By better advertising hotline numbers and resource centers, victims have a better chance at escaping their situation. I would suggest that advertisements asking victims to seek help with the list of resources be advertised on billboards and buses across our state. The advertisements would also influence bystanders to report incidents of domestic violence that they witness. The solution is doable, as our state is already running an ad campaign for other problems like human trafficking. My solution is logical for this reason, and it may require some increase in our finances to our state's advertising. The effectiveness of advertisements is well known, as almost every major company utilizes them. If they can sell more Big Macs, and footlongs with their ad campaign, then we can help more victims of domestic violence with ours. All in all, I believe any effort to influence domestic violence victims to utilize the services we have available will help reduce the issue in our state. We have excellent shelters for victims of domestic violence and a hotline ready to assist them. Now, we just need to spread the word for these victims to use these services. First, we discussed the health effects of domestic violence on the victims and the community as a whole. Second, we discussed why most victims do not reach out for help. And lastly, I described my solution to this problem. I see advertisements every day to help prevent human trafficking and drug abuse in our state. But advertisements for one of the biggest problems our community faces, domestic violence, are nowhere to be found.